Hi guys, my name is Heather Rose, and today we are going to be talking about the paranormal. Ooh. So, first off, like every video, I'm going to talk about last week's subject and explain what happened with that. So last week I talked about, I talked about planning. It's been more than a week. It's been like 2-3 weeks. I'm honestly not certain. It's been a while. It's been longer than I planned it to be. And I did technically get most of my planning done. I planned Halloween, which is already coming past. For Halloween, I did treat buckets for all of the kids in my family, and which I will picture here. Just like here. And the treat buckets, there were some cupcakes that were icing to look like candy corn, with a little candy corn on top. Then there were marshmallows with like pretzel rods stuck in them, and then coated in chocolate, and then sprinkles. And I had these really cool eye sprinkles that I like made little marshmallow faces out of, which I thought was fun, and I liked it. And then I also made bark, which was like Halloween threw up on it. It was white chocolate melted and then purple chocolate swirled into it, and then also Oreos with orange filling crushed up and put in it, and then pretzels put in it, and also Reese Pieces, which are like orange and brown and yellow, which are the perfect colors, and then like sprinkles in it. I put like purple and green sprinkles in it because there was no green really, and it was so sweet, but fun to look at. And I also made Rice Krispie treats, and I colored them orange and made balls out of them. I was going to make them into pumpkins, but then decided that was a little too much effort, and I would rather just make balls and be done. And I packaged them all like in these cute little bags that were like pumpkin, that like looked like pumpkins on the outside, or like Frankenstein's face or a cat. And I enjoyed it, honestly. I really did. It was a lot of fun to do, and I cannot wait for Christmas because I'm going to do it again. And then also for the adults for Christmas, because Christmas is not just about like kids trick-or-treating and everything. It's about like adults as well. It's a family thing. It's a whole family thing. And then I also added in there were some break and bake cookies, which had like pumpkin designs in the center, which were fun to look at, and added a nice little cookie in there because there wasn't really a cookie item in there. There was like cake, and then marshmallow and chocolate, and then rice, and then a cookie. And I also put a couple handfuls of like chocolate in the bottom and a Sheeta sticker, because all of like the kids in our family is like super like young, and they like stickers, so they got stickers. And yeah, that was that. It was a lot of fun. I really had like so much fun, and I can't wait for next year. And I planned Thanksgiving, and I haven't planned Christmas yet. Like, I have a general idea of what I want to do for Christmas, but I haven't planned the exact things I want to do. Like, I have to decide what I'm going to bake, what side I'm going to have with our main dish, and all that fun jazz. So yeah, let me also go ahead and say that with how irregular my schedule has been, I am no longer going to attempt to upload every single Friday. I'm going to upload whenever I can upload, because every time I try and upload like the next week, it seems like something happens. Like I run out of time. I have technical difficulties. Like, I filmed 2 videos already, like 2 separate videos, but I filmed them in the wrong format, and I cannot manage to switch my 4-hour-long videos into the right format to edit them down, because nobody wants to just watch me for 4 hours, because they were makeup videos. Half of it was me not even talking. So yeah, that didn't go great, but we're still gonna keep trying. We're gonna make this work. And eventually I'm gonna figure this out. Eventually I'm going to be able to post weekly, but until then, it's just whenever I figure out how to post, basically. So, that's that. I don't actually have anything beneficial planned for me to attempt to do this week, which is why we're talking about paranormal experiences. I have a total of 15 paranormal experiences written down I have 15 paranormal experiences, exactly 15 paranormal experiences I want to go and do. No. I have 15 paranormal experiences that I have already experienced, and I'm going to tell you guys about them today. So, to start off, in this house, the house I currently live in is extremely haunted. Okay, I'm being overdramatic. It's casually haunted. It's casually haunted. And I want to say probably weekly experience something, but it's not like an everyday thing or intense, or it's casual. It's a casual haunting. So first thing that happens is in our bathroom, the light flickers a lot. Like, a couple nights a week it will flicker. Well, yeah, a couple nights a week. It flickers. And if you tell it to stop, it stops. At first we thought it was just like our wiring having a problem, but then it started listening to us telling it to stop, which I'm just like, that's not normal, which means it's paranormal, process of elimination. So, next thing on my list is the ghosts play with my phone. Whenever, I'm in the shower, I will listen to, music or, horror stories on tape. I really like horror things. And I kind of like that my house is haunted. So I listen to stuff on, my phone, and while I'm listening to it in the shower, it will pause, and if I tell it to play, it will play. And it does this, and at first I thought it was just my phone malfunctioning, because phones malfunction. It happens all the time. And I just kept getting out and pressing play, and then after a while I started telling it to play, and it literally plays. It plays when you tell it to play. It's like it's just messing with you. It just wants to be like, haha, look what I can do. And it's kind of fun. So yeah. Next thing is, one of the very first things that actually ever happened in this house is that my mom's teacup moved. Now, sounds like a basic thing, but I had been in the kitchen previously getting food, and I went and sat down with my food. Before doing that, I had paused at the microwave and thought, oh, maybe I should take the teacup out of the microwave for my mom, and set it on the counter for her, put the spoon in it, so when she gets out of the bathroom, she can just grab it and go sit down. Just something helpful for her. And, I did it. My hands are full. I was like, it'll probably stay warmer in the microwave if I just leave it, so I left it. And next thing I know, she's, shouting from the kitchen, thank you for moving that, or taking it out, or however she said it. And nobody had done it. We asked my dad, we asked my brother, nobody had moved it, nobody had touched it. So, again, process of elimination. And that was that. It was paranormally moved. So, the next thing, I have a list here. You could see it. I have a list here of, topics. And they're not topics, they're experiences. But, yeah. So, next on my list is, I have, when doing the dishes, felt a hand on my shoulder. Just doing the dishes, basic thing, felt a hand on my shoulder. It wasn't, a weird muscle thing or anything. I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was kind of creepy, but, it happens. You move on. Yeah. Next is, the door between my kitchen and my dining room, there's a door you can close there. It, often opens. More than anybody passes through that doorway, it will open. And I've tried every way to try and get it to open by itself, walking by it, pushing against it, absolutely anything to, maybe debunk it. But it just opens on itself a lot. And one time, at first At first I thought it was like just something that was happening, like maybe somebody was walking through and I wasn't realizing it. Even if I was like the only person up, like maybe my brother came through and I didn't realize and he opened the door, but this turns to not be true. Because one time my mom was in the kitchen cooking and the door opened while she was just standing there, her back to the door. The dogs hoof a little, like, do you know a dog hoofing is like, yeah, it's like a soft bark. And she turns around and the door is just open, which it had previously been closed. That's the whole story. Oh, another thing with the dining room door is one time I shut the door because it'd been opened again. And then I hear 4 solid knocks from the other side. I opened the door, I was like, okay, maybe my dad was over there messing with me. Nobody was there. It was like a very suspenseful moment for me. Because it was like, oh my god, am I gonna see something? Is it my dad? Is it a thing? Who knows? And there was just nothing there. And that, I think, honestly, that was kind of more creepy to me than anything else, just because it was, like, right there, and, like, there was no explanation. It was just that. It was simply paranormal. So, after that, my next thing on my list... Oh, one of our dining room chairs was turned over. One of our dining room chairs were turned over, and these chairs are not easy to turn over. They're bottom heavy, they're like solid wood, bottom heavy, and it takes effort to turn them over. Like a dog could not just bump into it and turn it over. Like you would have to like literally turn it. If a dog bumped into it hard enough to knock it over, it would just fall onto its side, not entirely flipped over. So yeah, we have no explanation to that, and I guess on some weird coincidental thing, a dog could somehow, like, 1% chance turn it over, but I really don't think a dog did, because we heard a crash over there, like, the door is shut, we heard a crash through the door, and our dogs were not over there at the time, and that's basically that. So, another thing that has happened is while sitting in the dining room, my mom had her hair tucked. Like, it didn't get caught on her shirt or anything. Like, she felt it get tugged from, like, here. Like a piece of hair just tugged. Like, just solidly tugged. Not enough to move her head, but enough for her to be like, whoa. Another thing that has happened in the dining room, kitchen area, there's something apparently. Writing these things down, I've realized that it mainly focuses in the bathroom, in between the kitchen and the dining room area, and then, like, slightly in my own room, but not as much. So, another thing that happened in the kitchen was the garbage can. I heard, okay, let me start off. I was sitting in my room eating. Like, 90% of these things follow around me trying to get food or eating food. So, I was sitting in my room eating, and I hear the plastic, just plastic in general, not that plastic, hit the linoleum floor in our kitchen. And I was like, what have the dogs done now? And I got up, and the lid was, like, off the, trash can, forgot what it's called for a second, and just on the floor next to it. Like, lid open and everything. And I had shut it before I left because our dogs get in the garbage on occasion, and that's never fun to clean up. And to take this lid off, it like slightly hooks on the rim itself, so it's not like you can just easily like plop it off. And plus, if they were to like flip it off, it would be upside down, but it wasn't. It was like exactly, it was up, it was right side up, basically. And so that like eliminated the dogs doing that, and I was the only person up at the time. Nobody had been in the kitchen because, again, I was the only person up at the time, and that just left that to be one of our ghosties deciding to mess with the garbage. I don't know why. So, another thing that's happened in the kitchen-ish area was I was sitting in the living room, and I saw like an actual full-fledged? Is that a word? Wait. Okay, full-fledged is exactly what I meant. So, like a full-fledged shadow passed by the doorway, like from just one side to the next. And there was nobody in the kitchen. And our dogs are not as tall as a human. Like, it literally was the height of, like, I don't know, but like about 5'5" ish. It's like 5.5 feet almost. I'm guessing, honestly, because like I stand next to a doorway and like go from there. The next thing is like something that's happened in my own room, and I have a stereo. You might be able to see it. Wait. Oh god, it kicked over a cup. Okay, stereo. Right there. So my stereo turns on, like all by itself, like not by a dog hitting it or anything. Not a dog, I had 3 dogs. My 3 dogs were asleep at the time, and it just turned on, and it was kind of like confusing at first because I had my headphones on, and suddenly music started playing over the show I was watching, and it took me a second to realize my stereo was on, and my mom was asleep, and she was like, "What the heck? What are you doing?" So yeah. I also commonly will see shadows by my door. I don't, okay, not commonly, but like late at night, if I'm facing my door, I don't normally. I generally face this wall here, and then like the doors behind me. But if I'm like facing the door, I will I will see shadows passing by, like early in the morning, late at night. Like I want to say 3 a.m., but that sounds so cheesy and typical, but our ghosts are kind of cheesy and typical. Lights flashing, and knocks, and shadows, and just typical, but it's kind of fun. It makes life interesting, honestly. I have one last thing that has happened in my room, and the last thing that's happened in our house, is one night, I was looking for my mom's cough drops, and neither of us could find them. We like searched all over and gave up and went to bed, basically. And the next day I woke up to the cough drops exactly where I put my feet every single day. Like, I'm a very repetitive person. I wake up and I sit up and my feet dangle over the bed and then hit the exact same spot every day. And the cough drops were right there, like the top was neatly folded over, there weren't any teeth marks on it, and like if our dogs had gotten a hold of it, the paper like package of it is very scratchable, so if the dogs had gotten a hold of it, their teeth would have left like little indents and scratches. It would have been noticeable, and it just sat there very neatly. And I gave them to my mom and then went into the kitchen. I went to head to the kitchen, but it was like went to the living room first to get to the kitchen, and in the middle of the floor was a purse, like middle of the floor, not like knocked off a nearby table. Middle of the floor sat a purse that had previously been on a table off to the side of the wall, like side of the room, off to the side of the room, and it was like several feet from the table itself. So it didn't just fall off. And next to the purse itself was a pile, like a very neat, very, very neat. Like things had carefully been put there, like that were previously in the purse. Like someone had gone through the purse, item at a time, and found the cough drops. And it was kind of like really cool. And like our ghost is just really helpful, and I like it. Oh! I didn't write this one down, but a previous time, the ghost, like my mom and I were going into the kitchen, both of our hands were full, and as we walked into the kitchen, the ghost just flipped the light on. Like, it was amazing, honestly, and just thoughtful. Which is why I think I like the fact that our house is haunted, because it's not maliciously haunted. It's like, very nicely haunted. Like, our ghosts are playful and friendly and helpful. That's the extent of our ghostly happenings. But then we head back to my old house. My old house was haunted. And there are 3 things I recall distinctly happening there. The first one that ever happened was I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth. And when I stood back up, like, for brushing my teeth, because you hunch over, you know, typical human things, and, like, looked in the mirror, and I saw, like, a hand on my shoulder, like, poking through my hair, like, on my shoulder, like, visibly on my shoulder. That was the most visible ghost thing I've ever had happen, because it was, like, so solid. It was, I can't get over, I've never gotten over how solid it looked, and it's one of my first paranormal happenings that I ever remember happening. Yeah. Like, a week or 2 after that, I saw this, like, full body apparition standing, like, in my dining room. I was in the kitchen, in the freezer, getting out food from the freezer, and I shut the door, like, the door, like, was here, and then on the other side was the dining room. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And there was just, like, this glowing full body apparition, and it was, like, glowing kind of a goldish color, which was kind of weird, but also kind of cool. And it shocked the heck out of me at first, and I tried to recreate it, because it's like it was there, and then once I blinked, it was gone. And I tried recreating it every way possible. My very, like, first and most solid thought that, like, I could make that into something it wasn't, was that perhaps the yellow light in the fridge, like the warm lighting of the fridge, had, like, imprinted on my vision. And, like, I looked away, and that's what I saw. So I did that. I repeated my steps from before, and then looked, and there was nothing. It was just, like, some splotches from the light, but it wasn't, like, an actual figure that I can make out details of. But, that one was not as solid as the hand. Like, you could see through it. It was more, like, outlined and slightly detailed. But you could, like, see through it. So, yeah. And then we get to the end story. And this story is kind of creepy. This story, I was not the only person to experience it. I had a friend back where I lived who was also there with me at the time. And this story still confuses me to this day, and I didn't remember it for the longest time. Like, I just recently remembered this story from, like, this story happened probably, what year is it? Like 2015, 14, somewhere in there. And I don't know why I forgot it, but I suddenly remember it. And my mom told me, okay, let me tell you the story first. So, I used to hike in the woods behind my house, at my old house, because there was some nice woods to hike in. And we lived, like, on a hill. Yeah, we lived on a hill, and I'd go hiking up the hill through the woods. And you could only go so far because it got really thick the further you went, because there wasn't much up there, like, there wasn't anything up there, honestly, past, like, our house, and it was just a lot of woods, and I love hiking through the woods. It was always an enjoyable thing for me, like a way to just get away, and I would often take my friends when they came over. And so I'm hiking with my friend, and we wander, and, like, keeping in mind where my house is so we don't get lost. And we find ourselves, like, farther than me and her had ever been before, and we loved hiking. Like, we would hike at her house, we'd hike at my house, we hiked anytime we were together, and we'd gone, again, further than we had ever before. And we found this house in the middle of the woods, and there was no driveway up to it. There was nothing up to it at all. There was no way to get to it. It was just straight hiking to get to it, and there's thick woods, like, all around. Like, we had gotten to, like, the thick part where there was so much, like, underbrush and everything. And it sat there, like, a log house with a truck next to it, which is so bizarre. Like, how did that truck even get there? And all of it didn't look old and decaying. It looked in really good shape, and the truck looked in good shape. But the truck looked to be so old, like an old-fashioned Ford truck, which my grandpa actually has. But I don't think the old truck in the woods was a Ford. I think it was a different brand, because it's not like an old Ford truck. I hope this is making sense. So the whole thing was like kind of grayed out. Like the forest around it was bright green because it was like summertime or springtime. It was like not too hot, not too cold, perfect hiking weather. But in like a circle around it, the trees grew gray, and the house itself was gray, and the truck was gray, but it wasn't all entirely gray. Like, there's a filter, and I can never remember exactly what it's called, but I think it's called sepia or something like that, and it tints things almost black and white with a hint of color left in it. And that was exactly what that place looked like. And it was creepy, and it felt bad. Like, to be there made like my skin crawl. It was so uncomfortable. And if somebody else had not been there, if somebody else had not witnessed that with me and able to confirm that that had happened, I would think it was a dream, that I had just lucidly dreamed a really creepy house in my woods. But somebody else witnessed it at the exact same time, and it was odd. And my mom afterwards went on like Google Maps and tried to find, like, she like did the overview, but like, you know, close up where you see houses above. She went to it and she tried to find exactly like where a house might be in those woods, and there's nothing there, not a single thing. And there was a small clearing around it, so if there was something there, it would have been able to be seen from above. And it is so creepy. I remember afterwards, I was like, there's no way that was there. And I went back and tried to find it again. And it's not there. It was just there for that one day. And I don't know why or even what it was, but it was creepy. I actually have goosebumps right now talking about it. It was like, it creeped me out that much. That was like the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me. It was odd, to say the least. Yeah. So, that's actually my last paranormal experience, and that brings me to the end of this video. If you yourself has any paranormal experiences, I would love to hear about them. Do feel free to comment your paranormal experiences down below, and I will read every single one. Let me know what you guys thought, if you have had any similar experiences. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And share if you want to help me grow my channel, because that'd be great. I really am trying to grow. I want to grow and become like a great, successful channel. I will, again, not be posting every single week, but I'm going to try and post as soon as I can. So stay tuned to see what I post next and when I post next. Bye!